Welcome. I'm Susan, the Philly Community Organizer at TTF. Welcome. This is the March meeting for the Tacony Creek Park Keepers. It's so great to see so many of you, and we have some cool news, some cool guests. So let's get started. I don't know if we might have maybe too many people to do a popcorn round of introductions. Maybe if you want to put your name in the chat just to say hi, like name and neighborhood or what org you're with, and then we can just get right into it. We have some exciting news. I'll let the rest of staff introduce themselves too. So Jorian, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, hello everyone. So good to see so many new faces and familiar faces. I'm Dorian de Angel, Community Watershed Leader for TTF.
Oh, hi. I was so excited about having a meeting where we had too many people to do popcorn. So I'm Julie Slavin. I'm the Executive Director of the TTF Watershed Partnership, and it is wonderful to see so many faces.
So, one moment. I'm gonna just sharing the agenda with our cool new logo, by the way, everyone, if you haven't seen. So yeah, so we're just gonna have some updates from our guests and then program updates from everybody else. And yeah, hopefully we can get out of here not too late.
Can I ask one quick question?
Yes.
Is Yanitza here? There's people who just have their phone numbers.
Yanitza is not here.
Okay.
I believe. Wait, who? Oh yeah, the people on the phone are Pam and Judy.
I see that. Okay. So if she joins
actually,
us.
Yanitza's just logging on.
Oh, good. Okay.
Would you like her to speak first?
Yes, we just wanted to welcome Yanitza from Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez's office. And if she had anything to add at the beginning of the meeting, we wanted to give her a chance to do that because we were so happy she was able to join us.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm a little under the weather. Got my second vaccine, so it's been a bit under the weather. But yeah, we don't have anything. I don't have any updates. Councilwoman, I'm not sure if anyone was able. I know you guys weren't able to join yesterday during the town hall. I will say though, just in case there's constituents or residents, moratorium is coming to an end. So folks who have been having difficulty or haven't been able to pay any of their bills, obviously during the winter months, there's no shut-off services. And that's about to end now at the end of March. There's no update on an extension as of yet with everything that's going on with COVID. So folks are either already receiving shut-off notices or they will soon start to. So we're just encouraging for folks to please reach out, whether to the office or the PGW, PWD, or PICO, so that they can get registered for light heap and crisis. And then those who may not qualify for light heap and crisis, there is also a USIF grant that is also in place to help out with those stuff. But right now is the most crucial part. So that's what really the office has been pushing, because folks have not been taking advantage of it. And we know that there's going to be a rush of calls and, and folks being worried about, their services being shut off. So if there's anyone on the call, or we could just kind of spread that news so that, everyone can try to get the support that they may need moving forward. I'll try to share. I'm on my phone, so I don't know if it'll allow me, but I'll try to share also our office. We're still working remote, but I'll share everyone's contact in the office. It has like the times and dates, and then it has everyone's email, their titles, what they work with, and direct phone numbers to contact folks in the office in case anybody needs some support or assistance from the office. We're still operating the same. Just unfortunately, we just ask for a little bit of patience because it's not the same when you're in the office. We only have one line that gets kind of transferred over, opposed to when we're in the office, we have rollover numbers. So multiple folks can answer multiple calls at the same time. So if it goes to a voicemail, please leave a message. Someone will get back to you. So yeah, just asking for a little bit of patience, but I'll try to share that right now through my phone. But if it doesn't allow me, I'll just make sure to probably share it with you guys via email. Maybe we can forward it. You guys can forward it to the attendees.
That sounds great. Yanitza, are there resources like a flyer we can share as well about the shutoffs?
Yeah,
Or-
so I will touch base with the office, and what I'll do is instead of sharing everything individually in the chat, I'll just share it in an email form, because I know you guys can probably do like an email blast.
Yeah.
And it may work better. So I'll get everything for you. I'll get like the presentations that were done through the different departments yesterday, the contacts as to who should get contacted, you know, in reference to the light heap and the crisis and USIF, get all of that for you guys, and then I'll forward it to you via email, and then we can share it with everyone.
Yeah, we can share that out. That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you guys for allowing me to speak and
Of
for
course,
having
thank
me.
you for joining us. Next, I want to call on Edelweiss to give an update about Love Your Park. Edelweiss and Lindsay, if you both want to introduce yourselves, and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Edelweiss Cardenas. I work with the Fairmount Park Conservancy with Lindsay Walker. But yeah, we're excited to share some news about Love Your Park. Lindsay, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay Walker. As Edelweiss said, I work at the Fairmount Park Conservancy with Adel. And if you folks aren't familiar with us, we are a nonprofit, kind of similar to TTF, but we work citywide. So we partner very closely with Philly Parks and Rec, the city agency, and we do all sorts of work from capital projects to programming to events like Love Your Park. So thank you for having us, inviting us to join your group tonight.
Yeah. So I'll take it from there, and then maybe we'll bounce back and forth. So yeah, Love Your Park is a really great opportunity for us to show some love to the city parks all across Philadelphia. And during the spring, it's pretty nice because we get a whole week to do this. Usually we take advantage of the whole week to not only host service days and cleanups around parks throughout the city, but to also host events to celebrate the parks. This year, it's a little different, and we're trying to kind of go by ear in terms of how we'll develop that. But every Love Your Park, we do also host a signature site event where we kind of have a bit more press. We have like the mayor and local council person come to the service day. So for Love Your Park week in the spring, we chose Tacony Park as a signature site event, which we're really excited about. We've already told Julie and Susan, and so we know that they're on board, but wanted to share this news with you all and answer any questions that you have. There are, different moving parts to it, but for you guys, it's a, all the good stuff that you'll experience. The day will include a cleanup things that the volunteers will take part in. There'll be a speaking portion. But yeah, it really does give the park an opportunity to get some other special work done as well, which Lindsay could give you a few more details on.
Yeah, so the signature site event sort of means you get to be the center of attention on the Love Your Park kickoff day. The mayor usually comes out, and Yanitza, it's nice to see you again. We met on a park bus tour a few years ago. So we hope that the councilwoman can join us on that day. And the kickoff service day will be May 8th. So that's a Saturday. So we hope that you all hold that date in your calendars and plan to join us. And the special thing about Love Your Park Week, as Edelweiss mentioned, is that it also means that your park will get a little bit of extra attention from the department, from Parks and Rec that day, to help us prepare and set up and make sure that day is a success. And we also have Aylin Compton here, who I'm sure a lot of you know, who works at Parks and Rec, and she'll be helping to coordinate a lot of that sort of extra work as well.
Yeah, hey everybody, we're so excited that Love Your Park, the signature site, is going to be at Tacony this year. This news is very much like hot off the presses. We haven't, we don't have a ton of details to share just yet. It was literally like just just figured out very recently. So we're so excited. We wanted to come to the community first and foremost, and just share the exciting news and, save the date, May 8th, you know where you're going to be that morning.
Yes, and also just to reiterate, this also means that, the signature site, it's not just us who are running the program who get to make this decision. It's also our executive director, Maura McCarthy, and Catherine Level, the Commissioner of Parks and Rec. So that means that they have your love and support on this event as well. And they will all be out there that day celebrating and working alongside you. So we look forward to working with you folks and TTF to talk about what projects we want to tackle that day, and we'll continue that conversation with Julie and Susan and Dorian. But we're in general just really excited, and it's also worth noting that the rain date would be the following Saturday, May 15th. We've only had to cancel the signature site event once, so we're hoping that we hold to that record.
Yeah. And I just shared a link to just kind of a page that has some general information on Love Your Park. It has the poster for this spring, but we will be sending out more detailed information and sharing the page where we'll have volunteers sign up for the event when that's ready.
So what questions can we answer for you? If you have any.
How you guys doing? My name is Montez Devine. I just want to say thank you guys. I've been volunteering with Tacony Creek Parkway for about 6 or 7 months now. And I just want to say thank you guys for this is my first Zoom meeting, and it's great hearing from everybody and hearing what we got going moving forward.
That's awesome. What a great first meeting to join. You got the best announcement.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're looking forward to learning about what kind of projects we can potentially do. I've been trying to think of some, if we have some resources to sort of match what you may have from some sort of specific grants and everything. In terms of, what we can clean up, what we can plant, if there's anything we can potentially repair or paint or build,
Yep.
thinking that way. I have very high expectations for Love Your Park, because I was once at Love Your Park that Jose Garces came to.
Oh.
The chef.
Yeah.
That
must have been before my time.
Yeah, it was and I had no idea who he was, but all the kids did. So we don't expect Jose Garces, but we are very excited, and we'll make it a great Love Your Park together.
Yeah, so, and I'll let Aylin talk a little bit more about some of the prep work or the beforehand work, but the projects on the day of are, general volunteer projects that, volunteers who don't have any special skills necessarily other than being awesome and dedicated to their communities can tackle. So we generally do things like trash cleanup. Sometimes we plant trees or flower bulbs or something like that, or clear out garden beds. In a neighborhood park, we might collect leaves. We probably wouldn't do that at Tacony because your leaves are part of your ecosystem there. What else do we do? Mulching trees, that sort of thing. But we're open to hearing your ideas and what your wish lists and your needs are. And Aylin, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's just Tacony is such a big park. We're so excited. There's so many fun things that we could tackle together. As I mentioned, this news is very much hot off the presses. For a long time, we didn't even know if we were going to be able to have a Love Your Park in-person event. So it's kind of we can have one, let's do it, start planning. So I feel like this is kind of, we're just so excited and want to just make sure that the community feels a part of this process from day one, but this is pretty much day one. So I don't have, many updates to share. We certainly hope to be working together with TTF and other members to kind of dial, can narrow down and find some really fun and productive things to do in Tacony Creek Park this season. So yeah, I guess all I can say is stay tuned. We'll continue to try to keep everyone updated best we can. And fingers crossed that, everything with COVID goes in the right direction and, we get great weather, and we're really excited to just spend some time in Tacony Creek Park with all of you this season. So thanks for your willingness to host us. I think it's going to be a really fun day, but I guess bottom line is stay tuned. We'll keep you guys posted as everything comes together.
Great, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm very excited. Yeah, so keepers, if you have any ideas or suggestions, or even, like wish lists of like a project we could do, let us know, and we'll coordinate and I guess see what we can do, I guess. But yeah, don't be afraid to let us know if you have any ideas for a project. I'm really looking forward to this. Ellen, do you want to talk about some other updates, some improvements that have been happening in parts of the park?
The boulders. Yeah, we're so excited. So yeah, some folks you may have already noticed, first of all, this is really, we're so grateful to TTF and to the community, to everyone who calls in 311 and 911 issues to us and really keeps us looped into the needs of this park. I want to make sure you understand that we do hear you, and we're trying the best we can with very limited resources to tackle these issues of ATVs in the park and short dumping in the park, every bit that we can. And so most recently, since all this snow and ice has finally melted and spring has come, we've been able to go in and do some work, some very simple groundwork of installing these beautiful, oh my God, they're so pretty. Look at these beautiful boulders on key areas of Tacony Creek Park's gateways. So, my colleague George, with his big operating machines, has been out and spending lots of time at Tacony Creek Park this week, and probably a couple more days next week, installing these boulders as a way to hopefully block people from accessing the park with their motorized vehicles. That includes, illegal ATVs and also just like big trucks that have been coming in and dumping things, thinking that our park is their dumping area. So we're trying to reduce and eliminate that as much as possible by adding in these like physical barriers to make it harder for folks to do these illegal activities. But that's just the start, right? We know this isn't going to solve anything. It's not going to solve everything, I should say. But we hope it will make an impact, and we're going to keep trying to close up these gaps and little holes in our gateways and in our park system to make it as difficult as possible for people to treat our park like a dumping ground. But we also, we need your help as a community. So really want to emphasize that this only happened because people spoke out, and people spoke out consistently. So, it really makes my job a lot easier to try to dedicate resources when I have the backing of the community. So I really want to thank you and thank TTF. Again, anytime you see folks illegally dumping, please always, call 311 if it's after the fact. If you see it in the act, you can call 911 and report it immediately. If you feel safe, if you're at a distance and you feel comfortable, you can also try to take pictures of any short dumping happening in the act, and capturing license plates. License plates are really, really helpful. So please, anytime you're out in the park, please be our eyes and ears, because as you can imagine, our staff can't be everywhere. TTF staff can't be everywhere at all times. From our Park Conservancy staff can't be everywhere at all times. So we really need as many eyes and ears out there. So, I'm excited to share this news that we're making some improvements and trying to nip the issue in the bud, but I also want to reiterate how important it is. We all have a role to help keep this park clean and beautiful. And so please continue helping us to report things and let us know when you see issues, because we can't solve the issues if we're not aware of them. So that's my little spiel on boulders. And we're planning to put some more in. So this is just the start. If the weather cooperates and everything goes well, you'll see a few more popping up at key areas in the park. But yeah.
Julia, if I can, just to kind of piggyback in reference to short dumping, just to give a quick update on behalf of the councilwoman, since it was brought up. The councilwoman is working closely with the streets department in reference to the short dumping, at least as it pertains to the 7th Council District. She already had allocated some funding where some cameras had already went up. She just did a huge second allocation of, I believe, and don't quote me, but it was probably about a good, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I'm sorry. She just did an allocation of about 250,000, give or take, for additional cameras, which are it's gonna be phased out. So we have like the phase 1, that's gonna go up pretty soon. And then we also have, there's going to be phase 2 that's going to be targeted more towards the early end of summer, and then a phase 3. As more funding comes along, she's planning and committing to add additional funds to continue. So if anyone has what we consider as a hot spot, right, a spot that continuously gets dumping, and very serious dumping, if you guys want to kind of forward that over those spots, because we can make sure to put them on our spreadsheet. It may be stuff that information that we already have, and spots that have already been reported and may already be on the spreadsheet, but you know, the information can never go wrong. You guys may have some that we may not have, and it'll be great to have it so that we can make sure to add those on, so that, you know, once the cameras start rolling out, there'll be locations that can also be taken into consideration.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Yanitza and Alan, for those updates. It's really, really good to know.
I just want to mention that I noticed earlier that Thomas, you had your hand raised, and did you have a comment or a question that you wanted to share to the group?
Sure, yeah, at the moment they were, we were just seeking if anyone had any ideas for the Love Your Park event or different ways that we can get involved. And one of the things that I wanted to suggest, or actually request, while we have so many people here with applicable resources, while cleaning up trash in the park is something that pretty much all able-bodied folks can do, something that I've noticed particularly recently, it's great that we have beavers back in the park, especially our section of park. We have at least a couple of beavers, which is fantastic. But what I've noticed over the winter season is that as they've done more and more damming, what has happened is it's created a filter effect where there's many branches and trees now down in the creek that are collecting trash in the water itself. And though we can't encourage everyone to do this, it could be dangerous. Someone like myself, I'd be happy to volunteer to go into the creek to try to clean that up if we were somehow provided with some type of like waders, like chest-high waders or something like that we could use on loan to get into the creek and actually clean the water itself as well. I'd be happy to try to organize something like that.
We have waders.
Fantastic, excellent.
That would be wonderful. I'm
Yeah,
not putting them on, but.
Yeah. We also have some waiters if we need more, but and that does sound like a project we'd want to be careful about who we assigned that to, folks who, you know, we know can be careful and responsible and make sure that no one's going to get injured. But yes, that sounds like a great project.
And we,
thank you.
You know, there's a watershed restoration team at the water department. So we could reach out, and it's a team that's really knowledgeable about wildlife and fish and creeks. So we could reach out to them and see if they would like to work with us on this.
Hi, this is Edna from Juniata Park, and I love everything I'm hearing. You know, thank you everybody for all the work that you're doing on behalf of the park. And I especially like the idea that Aileen brought up about the boulders as a barrier, because oftentimes in this community, what we see are barriers that look like barriers, you know, cages, and I like that it's a natural looking solution to a problem that, you know, we've even seen people take it up a notch, and there's Jeeps that are in there in the park, in the water. It's awful. But I was thinking on maybe another preventative measure, and I don't know if this is affordable, but park benches, maybe somehow strategically place some park benches in there so that we are blocking or trying to block some of those now real, no longer ATVs, but these are Jeeps that we've seen in the water. We haven't taken pictures of them, but they're in the water. But somehow place them so it's even a little even more difficult for people to get those vehicles in there. I don't know if that's something to do, maybe a wish list item, if you know, if the finances aren't there, but it would be terrific to see something like that.
Yeah, I agree with Miss Miranda a lot with that, especially since like even if like I guess cost is a problem, we already kind of have benches in certain parts of Tacony Creek that could just be like upcycled and like strategically placed again. I just I guess we just need to find people with like good like wood skills, but yeah. 'Cause that's kind of like a problem. And yeah, like we already have, like I said, we have some benches down there that I feel like we can upcycle those benches and kind of like repurpose them to fill out the same, do that like do that same purpose.
Yeah, I love this. I feel like it's going to take a lot of creative solutions to solve this problem. So this is really great. I'm really loving and appreciating your thoughts on this.
This is Judy. I just wanted to make a suggestion. I wanted to ask a question, especially of Maria's office. I read in a WHYY article that $12.5 million has been cut from the Parks and Recreation budget last year because of the pandemic, I guess. And I wondered, that's a large chunk for us to be doing, and looking around for money to do a lot of the projects that we may come up with. Is there a way to get that money back from this big stimulus bill that's just been passed by Biden? Like maybe we could ask City Council or Mayor Kenny or something to set aside money for Parks and Recreation Department to replace at least that $12.5 million and maybe even give us more, like maybe 13 million, 14 million or something, a little extra on the top here we need to do any projects.
So yeah, unfortunately, Parks and Rec was not the only department. All the departments across the board took a huge cut. Some, right, unfortunately, more than others during last year's budget season. Right now, we are in budget seasons, and those conversations are already ongoing. The councilwoman, along with other council members, are having conversations with the department commissioners and staff in reference to see how they can be supportive, right, in hopes that Mayor Kenny kind of brings back some of this funding. I believe April 15th is his, and please don't quote me on it. I could be a little off. I am not the legislative person in the office, so I don't know a lot of the details. But I believe April 15th is going to be the mayor's budget hearing, if I'm not mistaken. It's information that I can always go back and get from my colleagues who are part of those certain conversations to be able to provide you a better update. What I don't want is give wrong information, right? But yeah, so just to let you know, there are conversations going on. I don't know what those numbers are going to be like, right? And just being frank, unfortunately, we're still in a post-COVID crisis. So it's, it's rough. I don't know who's going to get what and how much of it. And I also don't know how much of that COVID relief it goes to Parks and Recs, right? I don't have all of that information. But again, it's information that I don't mind going back to the office and asking those that do know the information, and then be able to provide a quick update via an email that maybe Ms. Julie or Dorian can share with everyone.
So we can, I can address this. I mean, Parks and Rec can't talk, their city employees, they can't really talk about this. So, you know, the city is getting a significant chunk of money from the federal government, and that will help the city with its significant, you know, hole that it's in because of the pandemic. We work with the Philadelphia Parks Alliance to advocate for the parks, for, you know, parks. So we can get something out to you about that. They're already mobilizing to get people to do just what Judy said, which is why it's so wonderful to hear Judy's voice, which is that we need to tell our city council people, and that is Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez and Councilwoman Parker, that we want them to support funding for Parks and Recreation. We want them to support, you know, making up what was lost. There was a very good editorial in the Inquirer yesterday about the importance of park funding. We can share that. And then we'll let you know how we're going to work with the Parks Alliance to make sure that people are making phone calls and sending emails. We can probably put something on our website too, where you can just go on and send an email to your city council person saying that you want to see parks funding restored and increased.
Now, if it's city council that makes the decision, is it city council that makes the decision, or the mayor, or who makes the decision about the actual money?
The mayor proposes a budget and then it gets passed by city council.
Okay. And can city council members amend the budget proposal?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And Siani just posted, because she's amazing, the link to the Inquirer article. It was by Owen Franklin, who's from the Trust for Public Land. I think I'm right about that. And somebody from a Park Friends group in Mantua. So, you know, other Parks Friends groups across the city are mobilizing and saying, we are doing as much as we can for the park. We need the city to invest in its parks. And, you know, this is a time that we know how much people need parks. We always did, but now we can see it even more.
Okay.
We missed you, Judy.
Okay. I miss all of you so much, I can't even describe. But I'll see you on Saturday, hopefully. I'm going to go on the bird walk on Saturday, on the 10:30 walk. So I'll see some of you. I hope I'm registered. I told Pam, so I'm hoping, you know, that you registered with us.
You're registered now.
Yes, I'll sign you up.
Okay.
So Miss Judy, I don't know if he'll have time. I don't know what his schedule is like for today, but my colleague Eric Bodzin, he is the legislative director in the office, and he knows all about the budgets, everything that pertains to the budgets and the ongoing issues and conversations that are being had, and so forth. And so I text him and asked if he had a quick second, if he could just jump on to kind of maybe address your question. I don't know. Again, not making any promises, just figured I would reach out to him and see if he can kind of join us briefly, real quick.
Yeah, thanks. Would you also be able to send us his contact info as well? So, you know, if he doesn't make it on the call or anything.
Yeah, so I sent an email to both Julie and Dorian with which was an updated email that we send post our monthly town halls with everything that was discussed. And in that email, there's different flyers for all different type of presentations, programs and stuff, resources that we shared yesterday, links to different resources and stuff as well. And it also has our office remote flyer, and then also an updated staff flyer with the contact information with numbers and email addresses as well.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have any other questions or project ideas for Parks and Rec and the Fairmount Park Conservancy while they're here, or anything about Love Your Park?
If I may.
Again, I have one more, but let somebody else talk first.
Okay, I think Thomas, did you want to say something?
Yeah, and I'm so sorry for interrupting, Judy. Thank you for allowing me. Since so much of what we're talking about in terms of boulders and repurposing benches to keep out ATVs and four-wheelers is drawing, time and expense, is there any movement or support to repurpose some area of land within the city to be designated for ATV use? Because that does seem like that is a community of use that could be outreach to if there was some type of place. Of course, the problems are nobody wants to sacrifice parklands and you got to travel there and back. But that does seem like investing in FDR Park, say, did alleviate some of the skateboarding problem around Love Park and City Hall some years ago. Is there any support in the room to try to encourage a project like that?
That would be great.
So we have, the ATV petition that over 100 people signed that went to the commissioner and the mayor and the council people. We got attention for that. I think that made an impact. And what we raised in that was that what you just said, Thomas, which this is a citywide issue. It's not an issue that Tacony Creek Park is going to solve. That we're going to solve. So we're hoping to keep raising that up. We want to keep our heads down and improve our park and do what we can. But we also want to try to raise this as a citywide, issue. I think that, we don't have the capacity to really kind of lead this effort. That's why it's great to have Aylin and folks from the Fairmount Park Conservancy who see they work on a citywide basis. I would hate to see parkland go to that, but there is a lot of empty space and there are a lot of empty industrial space in Philadelphia. So hopefully that's something that can happen. I just want to be conscious of everybody's time.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wanted to give, if no one else has any other, pressing questions, I wanted to move on to some other updates, and I want to give Gianna some space to talk about an idea she has for improvements around the Ramona Gateway. So Gianna, do you want to go ahead?
Hi, so I'm so glad I was like in and out because I am unexpectedly at work right now, but thank you for giving me the time. I don't have my official book with outlines and things like that, but I did get a chance to speak with Julie. My original idea was this space off of Wyoming, in between H and Cortland. And that was, we were just hoping to get permission to utilize that space, put some benches. There's already trees, but maybe, as a group, plant another. And then also have like an outdoor library that we would be able to fill, but pretty much just utilize that space away from the park, that would be a little bit quieter, to have a safe space for kids to go, and also have some, I don't want to say programs because it wouldn't be for kids to be dropped off, but have some opportunities for families to come together, meet, whether it be mindfulness classes, story time, just meet and greets, refurbishing used tires that have been a major problem in the community, and paint them, use them as planners, give kids the opportunity to, and I can't keep a plan alive to save my life. So of course we would recruit experts, but to teach kids how to, plant and, fruits and vegetables and different flowers and different seasons of the year and what's done when and things like that. So after talking to Julie, unfortunately, the city, everything takes longer than we would hope. So actually looking at the gateway at I and Ramona, I thought it would be a great idea to possibly put temporary removable fixtures. So just to get the community's input as well to see, okay, the people that already utilize the trail, you know, if they are coming with their families and they see the little pop-up, you know, library or, you know, whatever, are they utilizing it? Or, you know, what feedback do you guys get, you know, in regards to maybe putting some refurbished, you know, tire animals there and things like that. So, again, after talking with Julie, I would hope to set something up to spruce up the gateway at I Am Ramona. Maybe pick a date that we could possibly do a cleanup. I can bring volunteers, and at least get that cleanup, you know, underway. And also talking with different agencies to see what we could do about security for the trails. I know that there isn't any, and that's quite concerning, just because some of the things that do go on in the trails when it gets dark. I know I wasn't able to drive past I Am Ramona the other day because they were filming a music video and blocked the street off themselves. So getting some, you know, some patrol down there, not just at FERCO, that would be extremely helpful too, just so people that do utilize the path, they feel a little safer doing so.
Are you talking about security guards?
So that would be what the city, you know, permits that, you know, I don't know if they would be able to issue park rangers. I know me and Julie, you know, we were discussing as far as the police. The trail is so large that it goes through, you know, various different police districts. So, you know, just finding the right type of person to do the job. I think everyone keeps passing it off, you know, from park rangers or the 24th district, the 15th police district. So, you know, maybe talking with, you know, the lieutenant or whatever, you know, like they gave us last year, they did very minimal, but we got bike patrol. You know, so maybe see if they could have bike patrol, you know, even if it's once or twice, go through the path. You know, even if it's from I Am Ramona to, you know, the pathway that leads out to what's that, Adams, where, you know, the golfing range is. You know, it doesn't have to connect and do the whole thing, but, you know, just for Juniata, and I'm sure other gateways can, you know, talk to people in their area if it's a different police district to do the same.
Maybe we need a police station like they made in Kensington because of all the problems. We might need a police station for the park, like a substation.
I think, you know, I think one of the things that we have seen over time, oh, that's terrible, is the more people use the trail, the more people using the trail for positive things is what makes the trail safer. You know, I think we don't want the trail to become, you know, I know that the police won't go into the park unless there's something really serious happening. I think we don't want the park to feel like it's someplace that's patrolled by the police, but we would like more of a presence so we feel safe in certain areas. I mean, our sort of thing has always been, and I think we're seeing this, is that the more people on the trail, the more people doing positive things on the trail is what makes the trail a safer trail. You know, that's when we connect to the Frankfort Creek Greenway and we're working to connect to Cheltenham, the more people that are on that trail, the more good guys, you know, it's not as great a place for folks to be doing bad stuff. That doesn't mean we still don't need some you know, police support. And we hope that through the master plan process, we'll be able to address the issue of so many police districts. Someone really needs to be, you know, one police district needs to sort of take the park or split the park or just take some responsibility.
So
Aylin,
I'm sorry, Julie, just to give a quick update, just so everyone know, obviously in the Juniata area, we're all aware of the nuisance and the ongoing issues that the office, along the neighbors and the residents who've been amazing with making sure to follow up and just hold folks accountable. throughout the past years, and last year was one of the most crucial ones and worst ones, if you ask me, with all the activity that was going on, especially around FERCO, the entrances into the trail, the GN Hunting Park issues with the cars and the racing and all of that, the music. So the councilwoman, we do have a scheduled meeting with both the captain from the 24th and the 25th PD next week. We're trying to kind of jump the gun and try to get ahead of it as much as we can, to see if we can curb some of those activities this year so that it doesn't get as bad as it was. We can't tell folks they can't visit a public park, right? But if we can stop some of the activities that were going on and minimize it to where folks will be respectful as to how they use the area and be respectful to time, the neighbors, the community. That's what we want to try to do. The same thing with GN Hunting Park, which is an ongoing issue that just, unfortunately the police department isn't able to get quite a good hand on. You're talking about sometimes 300 plus vehicles in that parking lot, which makes no sense to me because everyone is just there looking at one another, but neither here nor there. But just wanted to let everyone know, hopefully we'll be able to get that police mini kind of station that we had there last summer, at least placed there. That helped kind of curb some of the stuff. The captain also was gracefully enough that once the station was gone, he would place a police officer during the hours, I think of about 12 or 11 to I think like 3 or 12 to 3, to kind of curb some of that the traffic that from the clubs and all of that late night traffic, and just ensure that no one was hanging in the park or starting any of that nuisance again. So hopefully maybe the next meeting I'll be able to provide a better update, post our conversation with the captains. And also I know that he's short on time, so I just wanted to and we are as well, and be respectful to everyone's time. Eric Bodson from our office, who's the legislative director, was able to join us real quick. So I don't know if you guys be able to give him some time just so that he can kind of update everyone on what the budget process looks like, and possibly be able to kind of shed some light to Ms. Judy's question.
That's great. I see him. He came with us on the walk that we did.
Mhm.
Yes, there he is.
Yes, I did. It's been a while. How are you all? Good evening. Now asked me to jump on and just provide an update on where the city is with the budget, which is delayed, most importantly. The budget is typically announced in the beginning of March, but in anticipation of federal funds that did thankfully come to be, the finance director asked council to push back the mayor's introduction of a budget to April the 15th. Typically before the 15th, we get an update on, what is proposed in the budget, and certainly the federal aid should hopefully put us in a better position as a city to, support, that some of the expenditures that were proposed to be cut or consolidated or eliminated in the past year. And that was, so that's we haven't received any updates from the budget office yet, but of course the councilman is very eagerly awaiting those updates, and is eager to advocate for the restoration of certain things that were cut or reduced in last year's budget. I know that the finance director of the city, Rob Dubois, has been on various panels projecting, where the city's fiscal health is better with the federal aid, but it's not, we still have an issue with revenues during COVID. But, initially they were projecting a big deficit, and hopefully, the federal relief can make that impact less. So certainly through NANA, I'll provide any updates we get on the budget. Again, the budget is released on April the 15th, and then City Council has between April the 15th and June the 30th to review, invite departments, including Parks and Recreation, to provide updates on programming and expenditures during our budget hearings in May, and then by the end of June, pass a budget. And so we'll, in addition to receiving the budget on April 15th, we'll also receive a schedule that includes when hearings will be provided, including the Parks and Rec Department and public comment on both the city budget and the school district budget.
Miss Judy, was that okay?
Yeah, so I guess by June 30th, we would know if we're getting any money or not, but it looks like between April 15th and June 30th, and especially in May, there's hearings, and maybe some of us need to go to them. I don't even know if we're allowed to go to them because of the COVID. So I don't know what's allowed. Are we allowed to go to hearings? Are they being held in person or are they being held on Zoom? How will these hearings be held?
Yeah, absolutely. So since last April, the council hearings, all council hearings have been held virtually through Microsoft Teams. And I'll make sure, I'll send Nana the link to sign up for comment on all hearings, including the budget hearings. I'm not sure how the budget hearings will operate this year in terms of, typically there are days when departments come and provide testimony, and then there are days reserved for public comment. I'm not sure which days will be reserved for which of those things, but I am sure there will be both opportunities for departments and the public to testify. And again, I'll get Nana those sign up instructions so they can be shared with the group. Typically in the past, there have been at least 3 days dedicated to just public comment on all sorts of budget matters. I think one of those days is typically reserved for school district related matters. But again, nothing has been firmly communicated to us since the budget's been pushed back, and we'll probably have a truncated schedule. There will be a certain day when the Department of Parks and Recreation is asked to testify specifically about the budget that the mayor has proposed for that department.
So Eric, just so that you know, Miss Judy was a bit concerned and was asking particularly because of the $12+ million cut that Parks and Rec suffered last year in light of COVID. So that's what she was referring to. She wanted to know if the department would be getting some of that or even more of that back.
Yeah, no, the councilwoman was deeply concerned by the budget that was proposed and ultimately passed last year. I mean, of course there were difficult decisions, but you know, this is a big priority to her. And what I can tell you is it's always helpful before and after the budget's introduced to send our office any documents, any details, any information about how, you know, funding from the city, you know, through the Parks and Rec Department is, you know, the impact that it has, the way it leverages other resources. All of that is always helpful for her, not only to have a full understanding of everything that's going on, but to share that with her 16 other council colleagues so that when they get the mayor's budget, they're prepared to respond.
And that information would be sent to city council? Who would we send information like that to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
You can send it to myself. I'll put my email in the chat. You can send it to Janitza, and you can always send it to the councilman as well. We're always meeting regularly and getting that information to her. And then in terms of that's for any information you want to send to our office. When it comes to testifying for budget hearings, I'll send none of that information to circulate.
And we could certainly organize a group to testify.
Definitely.
It sounds like we only have one day to testify.
Yeah, so you may want to be, I mean, I don't want to discourage, but what I will say is because everything is virtual, right? The spaces may be limited, right? The way that things are being handled now. So if you have a group, maybe you may want to select a person or maybe two. But I think if you have a group, if you get them all to write, if everyone can speak, at least write what their testimony would be, and you can submit them to the office. That also helps because, like Eric said, it's stuff that goes to the councilwoman, and she also shares with her other council colleagues, for them all to get a better understanding as to what, the impact Parks and Rec has in the community, right, with organizations and everything else.
Okay, so maybe our group should write an impact statement like they do for trials when victims give an impact statement about what the crime did to them and they give it to the judge. That's kind of what we have to do with this. I think we should anyway write a really eloquent impact statement, a written statement to submit to Maria's office.
Absolutely. And Julie, would you be the person that would be leading that, or has anyone talked to maybe Kelsey, who runs FERCO, which is our Parks and Recs in the neighborhood, in our neighborhood?
We would do that.
Okay, because I can get my letter to you without a doubt.
I think we would do that, and we could draft a letter. Kelsey's a Parks and Recreation staff person, right?
Yep.
Right. So it really needs to be community people who lead this.
Okay, then I can definitely get that letter to you.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's been enrolled with FERCO for quite some time, so without a doubt, I can get that to you.
And you can, Gianna, you can work with Kelsey in reference to if there's any other residents or community members that may have asked her, right, questioned it or had concerns or have probably expressed to her or asked her, where can we go? She may not know, right? And maybe you can communicate the information to her. Maybe she can point those folks, or maybe they can drop off the stuff that you can pick up and share with Julie and so forth. So she can probably be a bridge. I know she has very good relationships with the residents and community. So I'm sure folks may go to her or may have gone to her with probably some of these questions and concerns.
All right, that's perfect. I can definitely do that and see, and also talk to other parents in the community as well.
And you can probably take the time. You can probably take.
I'm sorry. I know with COVID, everything's kind of crazy too, but has Kiona's tried to or interested in making an attempt to come out to some of the Parks and Recs departments within her district to just see different programs that they've used to run pre-COVID and what they're trying to do through COVID, the impact that they've had on students because they've been used as service centers for families who aren't able to use childcare, all the different sports that are run there, all of the tutoring help. I mean, has she gone to any of these centers?
That hasn't stopped. It has been continuous and it hasn't stopped. And whatever's not being done in person is being done virtually. So every week there's meetings with either different rec leaders, district managers, or even the Parks and Rec administration, like commissioner, her deputy commissioners that are constantly ongoing in reference to the updates, what was going on pre-COVID, what's going on during COVID, and how are we planning for post-COVID. So these are conversations that have been going on, have never stopped, and continue. We have done site visits even during COVID, but Parks and Rec had strict, unfortunately, during this COVID time, Parks and Rec does have strict regulations where they're not allowing anyone in the building or the facilities unless it's the children themselves. They have made some accommodations with some parents, but technically they're not allowing anyone in other than a parent to pick up a child or the children and the staff members.
Okay, so she's pretty much just met via Zoom with you know, Parks and Recs leaders versus the sites directly?
So yeah, she's met with some
Okay.
sites directly, and she's met with some sites directly. We've done some sites visits. Others we've done via Zoom or a conference call, and yeah, and it may not have been with the director, with the rec leaders personally, opposed to it being with like the district managers and all of that, who are
Okay.
providing the more updates and everything.
Okay,
And
perfect.
again,
Thanks.
we can only do as much as we can. We
Right.
can't go over whatever Parks and Rec, what their regulations are either, because I handle everything in for Parks and Rec, and normally every year I come out and do what I call the seventh council district park tour, which is where I go to I take the time to go to every park and rec center, you know, and to look for things in terms of, you know, how their maintenance is. Do they have any pending issues? Because sometimes, you know, they need assistance, they need support, they submit things and they don't get worked on right away, which only causes more issues. So I look into all those things. And I do a spreadsheet that then we meet about with the commissioner and others to address how are we going to move these things? Why have they been pending? If it was submitted, if the rec leader did their due diligence and submitted it 6 months ago, why is something as small as a hole on the wall is still there 6 months later?
So I'm going to interrupt. I hate to interrupt Yanitza, but I'm going to interrupt because we have a bunch of other things that we want to talk about, and we only have about half an hour left. I want to say, two things. One of them is, I think it's, we really appreciate Eric and Yanitza taking time to come to this meeting. I don't, you know, I've worked for an elected official. I cannot imagine what life is like now, you know, with people being, you know, I mean, this is a really terrible time. And I think elected officials are doing their best to try to make sure people aren't getting kicked out of their homes and their lights aren't being turned off, and protecting the park. So we really appreciate you guys joining us tonight. And Eric did this on really short notice. We want to get you back in the park. I don't know if we're going to get golf carts. We may make you walk this time all the way to Cheltenham. And I think what we should do in terms of Gianna, in terms of your idea, is see if we can get Aylin out, you know, and maybe some neighbors to I and Ramona to talk about what the opportunities are right at that location.
I love it. And I can send you my phone number. I don't know if you got it, Julie, but I can, or I could put it in the chat. I could put my phone number so you guys can, you know, have it and can call me anytime. I'm around the corner, so
right. So
it doesn't take long for me to get there.
We can meet out there. We're around all the time too.
That sounds
perfect.
Great to me. Sounds really fun.
And feel free to give me a
talking to you.
call. And Gianna,
Yeah.
feel free to give me a call if you have questions, or you know, you have any other questions or concerns. We can talk, you know, off this Zoom, and I can provide you the best updates possible.
Yeah, I just want to echo the thanks, and, you know, thank you, Eric and Yanitza, for being here today. The Councilwoman's office has been an incredible advocate to Parks and Rec, and we're just, you know, we're so grateful for all of your continued support. So just wanted to say that thank you.
Yes, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate it. That's why I wanted to make sure everyone got time to talk to Yanitza and Eric, but we do also have some other exciting updates. So I do want to move on because I want to be respectful of everyone's time and get us out of here. Dorian, do you want to talk about some programming updates, especially the Intertwined project?
Yeah.
Rapid fire.
Yes, we're going to do this quick.
Okay, so Intertwined, we have a great project that we're going to be doing some temporary sculptures made of natural materials that are going to be installed the first week of April. But first we need to get those natural materials. So we need help from volunteers on Saturday, April 3rd. We're going to be there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're going to be removing invasive vines and some Japanese knotweed. And so it's a full day. So come, we'll have supplies, gloves and everything. So help us get all those natural materials that we need. So that way the artists that we have for the Alliance for Watershed Education could then weave and put together this art sculpture that's called Intertwined, and will be built and constructed on the week between April 5th and April 9th. And we'll also share an email with all the sign up sheet and all that. And it's on our website calendar as well.
Which gateways?
It's gonna be, we'll be meeting at the Tabor Gateway, Tabor Road and Olney Avenue Gateway. And we'll be removing vines from that gateway all the way up to Rising Sun. So it's all along that section of the trail.
So you got to get out of Juniata Park and walk up the.
Yes, that's on the 3rd. And then the other update is we have, bilingual bird walks that are taking place this Saturday. So we have 2 sessions. The 10:30 to 12 is getting full. I believe there's only 3 spots left, but we have the early morning one from 8:30 to 10, and anyone's welcome to sign up, and we could host the bird walk that morning too.
Very exciting. Thank you, Dorian. Do you have any updates on the running groups and the walking groups?
Yeah, so those are taking place weekly. Bethany is still meeting on Monday mornings at 11 a.m. at the Tabor Road and Olney Avenue Gateway for a 1-hour fitness walk. And Jessica is now leading running groups 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So early morning, like 7 a.m. And then in the afternoon, she has a family time where you can come and bring your kids and ride the bike. And so that one's a little bit more flexible, not as intense running. So the information to the location on where she meets, that's also online. It's tcptrotters@gmail.com, but we could follow up with that link as well. And yeah, everybody's welcome.
Yeah, and all these events that Dorian's just talked about are on our calendar. I just put the link in the chat. You can always reach out to me or her for more information as well. Let's see, what's next? Julie, do we have an update about the driving range? You're muted.
That will be a long conversation.
Okay.
But I can give a very quick update. I know we left one thing out, which is the Philly Spring cleanup on April 10th. So, we're doing second Saturday cleanups. And we've had people that have wanted to do additional cleanups. So we've said, yes, we're not going to run out of trash. That would be an amazing thing. So if people want to do a special cleanup at a gateway that they live near, and, we will support that. We're trying to do Wednesdays too, because some people work on Saturdays, and we've had people that have signed up for that. I think we have one March 31st. We're cleaning up at Iron Ramona. And then again, April 10th is the Philly Spring cleanup. So we are going to be at I can't remember where we're going to be on April 10th.
Rising Sun.
But if there's other people who want to do stuff in your neighborhood, we love to be together, but we don't all have to be together all the time. So if you want to do something where you are, we will help support that. The driving range. I guess I should give an update on the driving range issue.
You don't have to.
I can. The one other thing I just want to mention before that is we are looking for a walk leader.
Oh, yes.
And, we have some funding for this year. I don't know what we'll do next year, but right now we have it for this year. So if there was a walking group every day of the week, I would support that. We have, what day does Bethany do?
Monday mornings.
So we need a walk leader for Saturdays. So please talk to everybody. It's a way you have to do your steps if you're leading a walk. So let Dorian know about that. And then this could be a very long conversation, but we learned that someone was interested in, someone has signed a lease with the option to buy the Fisher's Lane driving range. And Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez's office has been very responsive about this. Sloan folks, who does the zoning work there, came out and met with me and the person who was looking to lease that. And has some ideas for what he wants to do with the property. The property is very limited in terms of zoning. There's not a lot you can do on that property. It's a floodplain, it's steep slopes, it's in the middle of the park. And we have advocated for years that the city should own that property. It would solve a lot of problems that only happen because of that property, because the street is a public street. So we would like that street to be part of the trail. We would like it not to be a public street. We would like the driving range to be part of the park. The bridge itself is really historic and should be protected. So the councilwoman's office was very responsive, and Sloan asked that we write a letter to Catherine Ottlavelle, the commissioner, explaining that that's what we would like to see happen. And we sent that letter off and got a very warm response to having a conversation. So, so that's sort of where things stand. It was really delightful to get that email from Parks and Recreation. We know how limited the city's resources are. But again, this has been, and we can share that letter. This has been at least in 3 studies over the past like 50 years, that piece of property should be part of the park. So we'll keep you posted on that. We have a meeting, there's a meeting set up that we'll be attending with folks from Parks and Rec and some of the TTF board to talk about how this would happen. You know, land issues are very complex and we are not expert. We don't own any property. And we kind of like that. So, but we do work with people who have a lot of expertise in this area. And, you know, we will do whatever we can to have this become part of the park.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie. Okay. My update, registration is open for Tree Philly. It is Tree Philly time, one of my favorite times of the year. You can register. I'm going to put the registration form into the chat. So what we do, we partner with Tree Philly, which is part of Parks and Recreation, I think. I should know that. Twice a year, we do tree giveaways. In the last year, because of COVID, we did deliveries where we deliver a tree to you. We bring you the tree, a bag of mulch and planting information. We're doing that again this year. We're also partnering with Frankfurt CDC and Friends of Northwood Park for a contactless pickup event, which is going to be Saturday, May 8th. So if you want to do that, what you would do is select that option when you register, and then you sign up for a time slot basically. And it's going to be set up basically like a drive-through where you come, pick up the tree, the mulch and all of that. So I would, recommend it if you have a vehicle. Sorry, Julie, just confused.
I'm posting things in the chat.
Okay. So if you have a vehicle to, transport a tree, that's a great way to do it. There will be volunteers there to demonstrate how to plant your tree and everything like that. You can also still sign up for a delivery. We're still going to do deliveries in our, our nice van. Here is the registration form. Like I said, we're partnering with Friends of Northwood Park and Frankfurt CDC. That form has the different trees that are available. There's trees of all different sizes. Some have fruit, some don't. Some drop their leaves, some don't. So, there really are a lot of options to accommodate, your space, what you're working with. I think trees are great. They, cool your home and improve the air quality, and they're just a lot of fun. And if you know anyone who, trees are fantastic. So if you know anyone who would like to sign up, if you want to sign up, we're prioritizing our neighbors in the 19120 and 19124 zip codes. So yes, sign up if you'd like a tree or share it with your neighbors. And if you have any questions, you can get in touch with me.
There are fruit trees.
There are fruit trees.
There are fruit trees, which is an amazing, wonderful thing.
They take a few years before they bear fruit. I want to give people that heads up. Okay, what else do we have? Yeah, Julie already mentioned the ATV letter over. We had 100 neighbors sign. We delivered it to City Council, the mayor, and the Commissioner of Parks and Recreation. We've got some constructive and supportive responses from people, or from city council and someone's leaving by. And Anita, thank you so much for coming. Yeah, we've gotten a very supportive response from Parks and Rec, especially. Cheryl Parker's office has reached out to, arrange a conversation. I would like to organize sort of a call-in day where everyone who signed the letter calls into City Council's office. Just, friendly reminder, I signed this letter, you've gotten this letter, let's do something about it. We all know it's an ongoing issue, and as much as the boulders are nice, they can only do so much about keeping activity out of the park. And so, yes, I'll be in touch about that if you've signed it. If you haven't signed it, it's on our website, so you can find it and sign it if you have not. And that's that.
I just wanted to real quick about the ATVs. I don't know if anyone saw, but I believe they were able to confiscate about 55 or 60 of them. I know Juniata was like a whirlwind the other day. I mean, there was helicopters, they were chasing them up and down the streets. So I know they are trying to be proactive in getting them off the streets. I do know, and I'm a neighborhood girl, I'm from Juniata, so sometimes I'm guilty. We used to ride these bikes when we were younger as well. And I think a park is great. I know someone had mentioned that, but unfortunately, people who purchase them the right way do take them to whether they be parks in Jersey or the Poconos or things like that. So I think even if we used, budgets or FDR or like places for this, unfortunately, it's still going to happen on the streets because the people choose to ride them on the street. So I think just making improvements within the trails to try and keep them out, that might just be our best bet for now. I know the boulders can't do much when you could just, pick it up and ride it over. But I just wanted to let you know, they are doing sweeps and they're trying to get, because regardless whether it's on a trail or not, they are illegal on the street. So they're swiping them.
Yeah, thanks for that update. Does anyone have any other questions or comments? We're at the end of our agenda. So Julie, do you have anything you want to say?
I don't. Just one thing, which is that we are, we've been really busy, and we are working. There was an incident where a child was hit by an ATV. It's been a crazy few weeks, by an ATV a few weeks ago on a walk with our walking group. So we are working on a statement about that. That will, we just want to bring attention. We don't want to bring attention to this child. We want to bring attention to the fact that these things happen. And we want people we want people to feel safe in the park, but we want them to be alert because we don't want people to get hurt. And it will also contain some language that says, these are your neighbors, and please be respectful of families that are using the park. Let's not put each other in danger. This little girl had 2 fingers broken, and fingers are really important when you're 9 years old. So we're gonna do that. It's just, I haven't quite finished it up yet. So we'll post that.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for that. I forgot.
That's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, crazy. It's so wonderful to see everybody.
Yeah.
Really.
So yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up. Let everyone go on with your evenings. Thank you all so much for coming, for participating, for having awesome ideas and questions, especially, for Alan and the Parks Conservancy and Yanitsa's Yanitsa. Yeah, I know there's a lot that goes on that we don't hear about. So please, if you do see anything, let us know. I think like Alan said, you're all the eyes and ears, of the park for us. We're a small org. We can't be out there every day all the time. So if you see anything, please let us know. Join the Juniata Anti-Litter Squad if you're in the neighborhood. Tiani just put a link in the chat, and we'll follow up by email with the resources you need to mention about utility shutoffs, contacts for her office, how to sign up for the budget hearings. I think we are definitely going to organize some kind of public comment submission campaign, and next steps about the ATV letter. All of our events that we mentioned are on the calendar. If you have any questions or comments, you can always get in touch with me or Julie or Dorian, and we hope to see you out on the trail. And thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. And we hope you all have a great night.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. It was so good to see you all. It was great.
Bye, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. Go eat dinner.